And all we want is some nice time together where we don't have to worry about things going wrong and we don't have to worry about these outside factors, but instead we could just be together, okay? Let me tell you about our day. So, woke up in the morning and immediately wanted to have a nice breakfast together. So I went downstairs and made my coffee. And my wife, before we even made breakfast, she booted up Power Wash Simulator and started playing the same stage that I had been playing on the Christmas marathon. I told her about it. She was like, oh, really? That's different for me now. So she started playing those stages. And first she did the ice rink. We did the ice rink stage, and then there's the Santa's workshop stage, right? So she had started doing the ice rink last night, and then she booted up in the morning and started playing I think she finished the ice rink, and then she had started the Santa's workshop. And then this was funny, I was sitting there with my cup of coffee watching her play, and we were relaxing. Jasper's awake, we fed breakfast, and we're playing a little bit. And she got caught up in it. And she's like, oh, just one more spot. It's like, no, let's make breakfast. So we went and made breakfast, and it was good. We made turkey bacon, scrambled eggs, and Belgian waffles for breakfast. And one thing I will say, as you probably noticed, all right, I lost a good amount of weight. At one point, I was 240 pounds in my life. That's the heaviest I've ever been. As my career's YouTuber went on, I was always over 200. I was like 210, 215. In the last, couple of years, I lost a lot of weight. I changed my diet and my whole attitude about stuff. And I'm now down to around 195. So because I changed it, I don't eat as much anymore. Like even on days when you like gorge or whatever, I can't eat as much anymore. All right, so we made all this food, we made all this turkey bacon, these waffles, and scrambled eggs. And I ate one piece of turkey bacon. I ate 2 Belgian waffles, and I had some scrambled eggs, and I was full. Even though, I used to be the kind of guy, at this point, I'll gorge myself, I'll keep eating. Can't do it anymore. You get to the point where your stomach doesn't want it anymore. You don't want to eat that much. So I didn't, I was like, this is good on me. Now I train my body to not expect to be gorging constantly. It doesn't even want that much food. I start to feel sad if you eat too much food. So, okay, there was a bummer. We had bought a whole bunch of fruit from the grocery store on Saturday, which was my last day off, with the waffles. It all went bad. And it was in the refrigerator the whole time. We had bought bananas and strawberries because we wanted to have them, chop them up fresh and have them with our waffles, like fruit and waffles. They were all moldy and disgusting only a few days after having bought them, even though we refrigerated. So it's kind of messed up. I think, I hate to say it, out here where I live on the West Coast, everything's very lackadaisical, very little discipline, very little caring about too much. Like really, the people out here are just like fucking up in the clouds. So I guarantee you they're like, oh, who cares if this fruit's old? Just fucking put it out and have all these suckers buy it. Who cares if it's their Christmas celebrations and families are getting together to have good Christmas feasts? Let it all rot in a few days, right? Pretty screwed up. So we ended up throwing up all the fruit and just having like waffles with a little bit of butter and that fake syrup. I didn't want that, but it's like, that's all we have. So we ended up having with that fake syrup shit. Exactly. We didn't want to keep the bananas in the fridge, but we had to because they were already turning brown. We had the bananas for one day and they were already turning brown. It's like, what the hell is this? So we put them in the fridge and then they just turned to mush. But so then after we ate breakfast, I watched my wife play some more Power Wash Simulator, which was nice. And then I played with Jasper a lot yesterday. Jasper, he's excited because he doesn't usually get a day where both of us are with him. Usually it's either he's in the office with me while my wife is at work, or he's downstairs spending time with my wife while I'm working. He never really has time to spend with both of us together like that. So he was very excited. We had this new toy that I told you about. His favorite toy is, we call it birthday streamers, but it's just because of the color. So what it is, it's a bunch of like streamers that are different colors and some colored feathers, and they dangle from a line that attached to like a little rod. So it's kind of like a little fishing pole, right? Like, oh, I'm fishing for kitties. I wiggle it around and he chases it all around. He loves this thing. He goes crazy for it. He pounces on it. He bites it. He jumps it. I lifted it up. He jumped across the entire couch. He leapt over the top of the couch across the living room and grabbed it out of midair. Like, yeah, he loves it, man. So it was very fun. I played with him a lot over the course of the day. And, my wife and I had some relaxing drinks and stuff like that. I had hot cocoa and stuff like that. So then eventually, we had to start making dinner. Dinner is very elaborate this year. Okay. For the first year ever, we've never done this before. We made a spiral ham, which was huge, 7-pound spiral ham. Now there was no way we're eating 7 pounds of meat. So I actually cut it in half, and half of it we frozen to eat at a future date for a meal. And then the other half, which is about 3-4 pounds left, we cooked in the oven. But we had all these other things we did. So we did 2 kinds of potatoes, okay? My wife made homemade mashed sweet potatoes, but then also made this new dish called cheesy gold potato. So the sweet potatoes, obviously very straightforward. What do? You chop them up, you boil them, mash them, and you add a bunch of ingredients, your brown sugar, your cinnamon, your butter, etc. But as we're cutting the potatoes, one of them is not standard sweet potato. Like, I guess there's different kinds of sweet potatoes. I don't know. I'm not a freaking cook or an aficionado of this stuff. So we're cutting the first sweet potato and it's orange. We go to cut the second sweet potato, it's white. We're like, what? And we're looking at them, we're like, they look exactly the same from the outside. Like, no lie, until you cut into it, you can't tell the difference. So someone at the grocery store must have got them mixed up and put some of the white ones in the area where the orange ones were supposed to be. So I just happened to grab one and I'm like, gee, I wonder now if this is going to taste different. It looks the same. just the color is different. Does that mean the flavor is different? So we ended up having like 2 giant orange potatoes and 1 yellow one, and we boiled them, we mashed them. When that's done, we work on the cheesy potatoes. So we got a whole bunch of these Yukon Gold potatoes, which we chopped into like 4ths, and then down again into smaller chunks after that. Boiled those up, but only for a little bit. The idea was to tenderize. Then put them into a baking pan and put all kinds of seasoning and stuff. This basically making this cheesy concoction. It included sour cream, green onions, a whole bunch of seasonings, some cheese, like shredded cheddar cheese and stuff like that. And then you roast them in the oven with that. So it turns them into this like homemade cheesy potato. And then we ended up having, what else? We had some stuffing. We had some cranberry sauce. So we had rolls. But again, as I told you, as I'm getting older now, I just can't eat as much. Like I've cut down so much. So we ended up making this giant spread, and I didn't even have a roll, and I barely okay, the spiral ham. Wow. Have a fresh roasted spiral ham on Christmas. That was amazing. I've never done it before. So all we did, it's already pre-cooked. When you buy these spiral hams, they're pre-cooked already. But what you do is you put them into a roasting pan and you roast it for like a half an hour. You take it out, you make a glaze, and you pour this glaze on it, and you spread it out, and then you roast it for another half an hour. Oh my goodness. Any piece of that ham that had the outer portion tasted absolutely amazing. Like, oh, absolutely delicious. Now, even the inner parts of the ham still taste good. They're still juicy and tender and delicious, but obviously the part that has the glaze on it is going to taste better than the others. So much meat. Absolutely ridiculous amounts of meat. So we ended up each having some of the meat. I mean, I would argue I probably ate maybe less than 1/3 of a pound of the meat. Because that's the thing, like, there's so many other things. I had that, I had the cheesy potatoes, the sweet potato mashed potatoes, the stuffing, and the cranberry sauce. I didn't even have a roll. And I just had one plate. I was completely and utterly stuffed. I couldn't go back to get seconds or nothing. Like, I just can't eat that kind of stuff anymore. Too heavy. But we have an insane amount of leftover. Like, today, we're not cooking at all. It is 100% leftovers, just taking a little of everything and warming it up. And that's good because you don't want to have to cook the day after Christmas. That's the thing, like, the food yesterday was outstanding, but the problem is the cooking and the cleanup. It took, like, no lie, it took us, I think we started making dinner around 5:30, but we didn't eat until after 8 because that's how long it takes. You know, all that prep work, the baking, like, it was like 3 hours of cooking. And while we were doing that, we were watching Christmas specials. We watched Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas on DVD, and then we were listening to Christmas music after the fact. So we actually got to do some Christmas specials and stuff while we were doing the other stuff, which was fun. So we finished all that up, and then at the end of the night, we ended up watching the Holiday Baking Challenge show. I guess it was from like Food Network or Cooking Network or whatever from like a million years ago. All those cooking shows are now on HBO Max. So if you have Max, you can watch all those kind of shows. And it's fun. You know, they're making cookies, they're making cakes, they're doing all this crazy kind of stuff. That's all holiday themed. Really, really fun to watch. And just kind of relaxed and had some more time with Jasper Kitty. So overall, 2 amazing meals, you know, a lot of relaxing time. I saw Kat play a lot of, you know, like Power Wash Simulator while we were listening to Christmas music. We watched a Christmas special, got to play with Jasper Kitty a lot, you know, and the best part, nothing bad happened. Like, there's not even a thing I can think of yesterday. Did it rain a lot? Yeah, we would have liked the white Christmas. Big deal, right? But outside of that, nothing. I mean, the fruit was rotten, but everything was still fine. You know, it was a good one. Like, no disasters. Oh, one other thing. Our neighbors weren't home. So because of that, it was kind of like having the neighborhood to ourselves. Like, there was no noise, you know? Like, when your neighbors are home, especially during the holidays, sometimes they have friends and family over and they make a lot of noise. You hear banging and everything. It was quiet. It was a quiet day all day. We kind of had the place to ourselves. No, you know, annoyances. Everything went well. The food was good. Relaxing day. I wish we could have more days like that. Like, really, if we could have like one day a month that's like that, that would be superb. But the problem is, usually on my day off, it's a day when I have to cram all my junk in. Go to the grocery store or go to the dump, buy pet supplies, return items to the store, appointments for like, you know, doctor or anything else. All has to be done on my one day off. And because of that, it's like, you know, really stressful. My wife and I want to have another day off to ourselves soon. We're just not sure when. We have to try to figure out her schedule for the next couple of weeks. And once we do, it's a very strong chance that in early January, we may take a day off just for ourselves rather than it being the day off where I run around and do errands. So I'll let you know if and when that happens. But, you know, for now, business as usual, me here full weeks, probably for the next week or two until I can figure out when the next day off will be. That'll be like a special day. Okay. All right. So that was our Christmas.